Hello and welcome again to Conscious TV. I'm Iain McNay, and today our program is another in the series on meditation, and our guest is Linda Hall. Hi Linda.
Hello Iain.
And Linda has been a meditation practitioner for about 40 years, and as the last 10 years or so also been teaching meditation. We're going to find out more about meditation, her life. She's had some ups and downs in her life where meditation has been very helpful, and end up with some practical tips and actually meditation itself. So Linda, let me start by asking you, why did you start to meditate in the first place?
I started to meditate back in the 70s. I was at art college, quite a sensitive soul, and it gave me a way of drawing back from the hubbub, the crowd, and finding a space of quiet and peace and balance within myself. I used to meditate cross-legged outside the canteen at the college I was at, and yeah.
I'm sure lots of people looked at you and wondered what you were doing, didn't they?
I think they probably did, yes,
Yeah.
as I held my hands in a particular way and, was sitting in the half lotus position.
And what did you get from it at the time?
It calmed my rather sensitive nervous system. It gave me my own space, as I think probably I lost myself quite easily in other people. And a sense of calming my mind and balance, really.
And how did you learn it?
I learned it from a book. And I can't remember what that book was, but the book probably travelled around with me for several years. Then I bought a book on yoga,
Okay.
and I self-taught myself yoga and brought the sort of meditation side of things into that as well. So for the first probably 15 years, 20 years possibly, it was very much self-taught.
And did you find your meditation evolved, it deepened? What actually happened after? Because to meditate for 15 years is a long time.
Well, it came and went, in all honesty. Where it really where it got deeper and I got under the skin of it was when I had a career change and a life change. Having been a painter for some years and then a glorified secretary for some years, I changed my training to become a holistic massage practitioner and healer. And it was in my training there with my various teachers that I became a lot more aware of the deeper aspects of meditation, and it really came alive then.
And when you say deeper aspects, what do you mean by that?
It's a good question. The getting in touch with myself in a what could be called a spiritual way, getting in touch with a sense of not being on my own, not being the small me, the alone me, but being connected to something much bigger. I studied the Hindu chakra system, which are the subtle energy centres aligned with the spine, that are traditionally connected not only with your physical body, but with your self-development. So it was very much connected with self-development and also self-healing, healing old issues in my life.
So there was psychological things that came up when you were meditating and you had to deal with these, is that right?
Yes, psychological issues that made themselves known through, say, sensations, emotions, that were also part of them. They express themselves in terms of my subtle energy. So through meditating with this sensation or this feeling, and through being in touch with this subtle energy, there was an opportunity to shift, if you like, old negative energy blocks, if that makes sense.
Well, it sounds like you're getting more in touch with yourself.
Yes.
And then by doing that, things automatically start to move and maybe clear themselves.
Yes, exactly.
So that's quite a That's quite a useful process, isn't it? You kind of, it's almost a byproduct of meditation. You maybe start because you want to be more relaxed and you want somehow life to be more in balance. Then after a time, you find there's this automatic process going on.
You're right. It is a progression and a process. I think with any reflective practice where you clear some space for yourself, and you slow your mind, you clear it of the clutter and distraction of the rest of the drama of your life, you're going to meet yourself. And you have an opportunity as well to connect to the larger whole that you're part of. And that's going to put everything in a much bigger context. You're going to be able to see your life in, the bigger picture of your life, and that in itself is healing.
Yeah, it has a great value as well.
Has a great value.
Yeah, and then after a time, though, you got sick. You got quite sick, didn't you? What actually happened there?
Okay, well, I guess it's useful to point out that I had, less so now, a certain personality type through the life that I'd led, my upbringing. I was very driven. I was a chronic helper type. My mother had been seriously ill and subsequently died in my early 20s, so a large part of my personality had been invested in helping others and giving to others. And basically I'd begun to get burnout from pushing myself and from having fairly low self-esteem, so I was pushing past my limitations. Nothing was ever good enough. And I think although I was working as a healer and working as a holistic massage practitioner, I was never really staying within or respecting my personal boundaries, so I was giving too much. I was perhaps working in a way that it just depleted my system. So it's easy to think of healers as being, well, you should be fully sorted, but you're actually human like anyone else. And when you're working with the subtle energy in healing, when you're working with the subtle energy through meditation, subtle energy through awareness through meditation, you really need to have a robust constitution. You need to look after your body, and I don't think I was. So yes, I began to develop ME.
So that means you were very tired a lot of the time?
Yes, it started off with a very long bedridden bout of bronchitis that didn't go away, moved into what was diagnosed as post-viral fatigue, and then grew to be something much bigger that stayed with me for 8.5 years.
And so that must have been quite depressing for you. Here you are, you're meditating, you're trying to have a balanced lifestyle, and yet somehow life is taking you down this path of getting actually rather sick and compromising what you're able to do.
Well, that's the way I could have looked at it. And I think probably because of my training and my philosophy as a body worker and as a healer, I saw it very clearly as my body's expression of there was being something amiss, and it was basically you may call it my spirit, my higher self, my body saying, look, something needs to be healed. It took me quite a while to work out what needed to be done. I used meditation and self-healing a lot during that time, and I believe that if it hadn't have been for that, I probably would have gotten a lot worse. I was ill enough, but I wasn't, for instance, I didn't go down the route of being bedbound or housebound for many years, as some people in that situation with ME can be.